Hello, everyone. Welcome to our lesson about the main event of our story. So, first of all, what I want us to think about is this story diamond. Sorry, guys, I forgot the word for diamond. It's this story diamond. And now, when we look at the main event, when we look at this diamond, we've been working on entertaining beginnings, elaborative detail, suspense, which is leading up to the main event. And as I want you to notice, the main event is the biggest part of the diamond. Why do you think that is? Well, because that's where we're going to provide the most detail. That's where we're going to slow down and explain things frame by frame and really use our practice with writing elaborative detail to stretch it out. That's where we're going to include a description and include the character's thoughts and feelings. And I want us to remember that the main event is about the problem. So all of our story has to relate back to the problem, adventure, or experience. Mostly our stories have problems though, so let's just focus on that for now. Okay, so the menu for main event, similar to all of the other components of a story that we've learned about, the main event is no different. There are different strategies that we can use in our writing to help us elaborate detail and give us an interesting main event. Now, what are those? So we can write about an action, a description, thoughts or feelings of the main character. We can add dialogue, and we can add a sound. And it says here, effective authors mix up all of these ingredients for a fully elaborative main event. So that's answering the question. When you had that problem, what did you do? What did you see, hear, or feel? What were you wondering, worrying, or feeling? What would you say? And what would you hear? So our story is going to be about searching for a rare seashell on the beach. Now, what do you think we could use to, or what do you think we could brainstorm for action, a description of the beach, maybe the character's thoughts or feelings, the dialogue or sounds that we could hear? We're going to use our 5 senses to elaborate. Okay, so I want you to think, if you were at the beach, what would you do? What would you see? What would your thoughts or feelings be? What would you hear maybe as a dialogue around you, or what would you say to the person you're at the beach with, and what sounds would you hear? So let's go on to read the example. The call of the seagulls and the sound of white-capped waves the call of seagulls and the sound of white-capped waves as they crashed onto the shore filled my ears. The dawning sun painted a horizon a gorgeous shade of pink, and the smell of drying seaweed gave off a strong fishy scent. I felt the grit of sand between my toes as I reached for a large scallop shell and tossed it into my bucket. The vivid color of the ripe peach. It was pretty, a great find, but it wasn't the Junonia, the brown and white polka-dotted shell I was eager to find. I continued my search. So, what do you think the problem could be here? The personage, the character is looking for a shell, the Junonia, the white and brown polka-dotted shell. I wonder what problem could arise. Okay, and maybe we could add some more detail. So let's see. So, the call of the seagulls and the sound of white-capped waves as they crashed onto the shore filled my ears. The dawning sun painted the horizon a gorgeous shade of pink, and the smell of drying seaweed gave off a strong fishy scent. I felt the grit of sand between my toes as I reached for a large scallop shell and tossed it into my bucket. The vivid color of a ripe peach. It was pretty, a great find, but it wasn't the Junonia, the brown and white polka-dotted shell I was so eager to find. I continued my search. There were so many amazing shells on the beach. I was excited to find a tiny bright orange conch and a clamshell bleached pure white by the sun. But I was worried that I wouldn't find the one I was looking for. It was, after all, rare. Plus, as the morning wore on, other shell collectors joined me on the beach, and they were probably looking for a Junonia of their own. High in the sky, the morning sun beamed down on me, and I felt sweat run from my neck down to my back. A quick swim would feel good right about now. So let's think about what might happen next in our story, and let's extend it even further. I dove into the choppy water. The waves rolled in, bringing shells and stones onto the beach. I was about 3 feet from the shore when I heard a joyful shriek. I found one! A girl about my age was jumping for joy. Had she found my shell? Dripping wet, I ran up to the girl. What did you find? I asked, fingers crossed that it wasn't the treasure I was looking for. The girl opened her hand. A tiny triangular object was cradled in her palm. A fossilized shark tooth, she said, and I'm so glad I finally found one. So, do you see here how we're increasing the tension of the story? So, this is where the main event needs to come to a close, right? We have the tension, and now we can kind of come down. But I want to first pay attention to which one of the story summaries is better. I got up early and went to the beach in search of the rare and beautiful shell, or what we just read. Now, I highly doubt any of you would say, Madame, you know what, number one is much stronger, because we all know by now that having a fully elaborated main event is much stronger. So, the whole point of this is that when we are writing about our main event, we need to stretch it out, because that is the biggest part of our story planning diamond. And that is where we need to use almost all of these strategies, if not all of them, to make our writing go further and to increase our tension. So that's where we're going to use action. So, what did the character do? Use very vivid description with lots of elaborate detail. Use sound, use dialogue, and use thoughts and feelings. Okay, we want to tell the story in slow motion. So let's review. We always stretch out our main event. It has to be the longest part of our story, where we really take the time to describe every single thing that we can, because that is what's going to get our reader the most interested. And remember that the main event is always related to our story problem. I hope that this lesson was helpful in giving you strategies on how to write your main event. Remember, you always, always, always stretch out your main event. I hope to see that in your writing. Have a good day, everyone.